All right, welcome everyone. I'm a bit early, but checking in here, just getting everybody prepared as I brew my coffee. Excited to be here, excited to be with everyone today. This is going to be awesome. I am Miss Tanya, and while I wait for us to finally hit that 3 minutes where we are at 10 a.m. exactly, and as you can hear my coffee brewing in the background, I'm just going to give you a little update about what today is about. So, today, if you don't know much about me, my name is Miss Tanya. I am a women's career and life coach using menstrual cycle planning. So, my specialty is actually helping women align their productivity, their tasks, even their life according to the natural biorhythms of our bodies so that we can boost our productivity by 30%. Because what many people don't understand is, women are not trying to get equality. We don't want to be treated like a man. No, we want you to respect us as women. Okay. Okay. Don't flatter yourself. You are not my equal. You will never be my equal. You do not bleed like me. Okay. Okay. So I'm very excited to be here and very excited to help you guys, start to build wealth and career momentum for the new year, which is what this presentation is about. So I'm just going to wait here because I am tuning in a bit early, which is fine. We got 2 minutes to the mark. And then, we're going to get started. It's very exciting. I'm very excited to be here. Very excited to have you guys. So I'm just going to wait a few more. We're also live streaming on YouTube. So this is live streaming on my Unapologetically YouTube channel. And it's also live stream on LinkedIn and also on my Facebook page, Miss Tanya. I wasn't able to, for some reason, connect it to my Unapologetically Woman Facebook page. So I do apologize about that for you guys that are following that particular page. But my Miss Tanya Facebook page is it's turning into like my portfolio. We can say that. All right. And I might have a little delay because I thought my coffee would be done brewing by now, which it is not, which is fine as I watch this drip into this coffee pot. And we are seconds away from starting and getting on point here because Miss Tanya runs on time, baby. Okay. Beautiful day out here in New York. We were expecting a lot more snow. I'm in Manhattan, so they tend to clean up these streets pretty quickly. But it's very beautiful outside, just looking at the snow on the ground. Very excited to go to the park and view that view. Okay. We up 3 minute mark. It is officially 10 a.m. So let's go ahead and get started. So for those of you just tuning in, my name is Miss Tanya, and I am a women's career and life coach using menstrual cycle planning. And today we are talking about building wealth and career momentum for the new year. That is what the summit is about. So just to let you know and to get you up to speed here, in regards to understanding more, we actually have to understand more about our bodies, okay? As women, we must understand more about our bodies in order for us to be more productive. So, this is going to actually take us through that, okay? And understand that. And I mentioned this a little bit earlier, about, the importance of this. And the importance of it is that it helps us as women have a work life balance. It optimizes our health as women. Okay. And it also boosts our productivity by 30% when we align naturally with the biorhythms of our body, which is something that is not being taught, but it really needs to be taught. And oftentimes, women's health is often pushed to the back burner, is not studied at all. Recently, I feel like that has been changing. I feel like we have been getting more people who have been coming out about women's health, but it's not enough. We still need more of a push. We still need to continue this fight. But menstrual cycle planning will help you with this. Now, this might sound new to you, but I want to explain a little bit about this because there is a relationship between you monetizing your business and your productivity in the phases of your cycle. So, if you don't know the phases of your cycle and you're like, Tanya, I've only heard about my period. What are you talking about here? This is what I am talking about here. I am talking about the different phases that we go through as women. Okay. We are not, we no, men and women are not equal. We are not. Okay. I'm so grateful. We are not. Okay. We work differently and it just needs to be respected. And the first thing that comes to respect is about us understanding our own bodies, us becoming more self-aware about our own bodies. Okay. And if you see that little thing, I should have mentioned that before I went to the next screen. If you see that little thing that says unapologetically woman, you guys, that is simply my podcast. It's the name of my podcast, Unapologetically Woman here. All right. So let's continue to get on into this. So, cycle syncing. Not sure how many of you have actually heard of cycle syncing before, but cycle syncing is aligning your tasks, your exercises, even your foods with the different phases of your body. And this is what I'm going to be going through today for you guys. Now, before we get into too much of this is why this is important to cycle sync, because there have been studies that indicate that women, we tend to have more burnout than men in the workplace. And this is because women, we value more so than men a work-life balance. It's just, it's naturally, it comes to us. Now, am I saying every single woman on the planet is like this? No, I am not. But I am saying a great deal of women do love to have that work-life balance. And because a lot of the times in the workplace, we don't get that satisfaction. And this is a way, if you are an employer, this is a way to keep your female employees is by allowing them to have a work-life balance, because without it they will experience, as you see here, emotional exhaustion. So let's look at a couple of things when it comes to emotional exhaustion and what research actually says about it. So the primary reason that we see that women will go through this emotional exhaustion is because they have so many roles that they have to take on. So not only are they working like at work, they have to work at home too, and it's expected. Like people expect us to be burning out ourselves and to think that is natural. It's almost as if burnout has become like a trend word. It's not a good trendy word. Okay. We should not be burning ourselves out because we are women and feel like we're obligated to do so much and not take care of ourselves. And this oftentimes women feel pressured to do this. I actually think that's what the second slide is about, that second shift phenomenon where women work a full day and then they have to handle the majority of the household duties, okay, which exacerbates stress and exhaustion. Of course you're exhausted. Of course you're exacerbated. Of course you're exhausted. You're working your butt off 8 hours a day, probably more. And then you have to go and you have to tend to the children because that's your role, because you're the woman, which is not. No, that is not our only role. Okay, no. Okay, so we need to destigmatize this because we're burning ourselves out and this lowers our immune system. Okay, it is not cute. It's not sexy. Okay, we're lowering our immune system, trying to do everything. And it's not okay. It's not healthy. And women, if you're in leadership roles, the reason that you're experiencing more burnout is because of the comparison to our male counterparts. Okay. And then we feel pressured to outperform our male counterparts. In reality, we don't need to outperform. We already, okay, possess everything that we need. Okay, we already have the competency. The problem is that the workforce looks at us as less than our male counterparts. So when it comes to the leadership roles, I really think that corporate America really needs to focus on how they are treating their female employees and the language that they are using towards their female employees, especially in the workplace. We are not less than. We have never been less than, and we never will be less than. Okay. Okay. So, how can we, as women, optimize ourselves? Like, how can we do this? And this is by, like I said, cycle syncing, working with our biological clock. But in order to work with our biological clock and to understand this. We actually need to understand what the difference is between male and females, okay? Because it's not just about one having a dick and one having a vagina, okay? And it's not just about, oh, we have a uterus. Well, actually, that is the main part, is the uterus, okay? So I can't even lie about that. We have a uterus, okay? And it makes a big difference. Yep. About to talk about our periods here. Okay. I know it's a big taboo, which it shouldn't be, because our periods let us know as women that we are healthy. It is a good thing to have our periods. And so oftentimes our periods are just stigmatized and shamed. Our bodies as women are oftentimes shamed. We're demonized. It's politicized. I mean, come on, there's a freaking law against our bodies as women. Who ever heard of such a thing, that it could be legal to shame us as women? And that's where it comes. We're demonized, we're politicized, and we're shamed. And this is about the healing power that we as women have from within. Okay. This is our period blood. I learned this has stem cells, ladies. That means that we have the power to help cure cancers. Okay. And we are the ones who govern our bodies. And it is time for us to embrace this as women. And I hope that you really understand this through the cycle syncing. So let's understand the male species. Okay. And I will be referring to them as a species. I crack myself up sometimes. So when men, okay, work on what is called a 24-hour clock. Okay. And to make things simple, in the morning when a man wakes up, his energy level is high. Okay. This is oftentimes while you hear male gurus talk about, oh, I get up at 5 a.m. every day. I work out at 5 a.m. every single day. Good for you, boo boo. You're a man. You can do that. Congratulations to you men out there. Now, as the day goes on, their energy decreases during the day. However, the next day, their energy level resets. Here is the kicker. It is not the same for women. Our energy level does not reset. So if you find yourself as a woman that you can't continuously do that 5 a.m. wake up to get that workout in, there is a reason for it. It's because you're not a man. Okay, honor the fact that you are a fabulous, divine woman walking on this earth, and we do not move the same. Okay, women are on a 28 to 35 day cycle. Okay, there's a big difference. There's a huge difference between 24 hours and 28 to 35 days. If you do not understand that, okay, 24 hours compared to 28 to 35 days. We are not to be compared to men whatsoever. The reason for the range, ladies, is because every single woman is different. Every single period is different. How flippin' beautiful is that? That you are just so unique. This is why it's important to track your periods, ladies. I know you don't want to hear that, but it's very important to track your periods, because this cycle is actually the start of a 4-phase cycle. This is what I am going to be going into, because this is what you need to understand as women. Now, before we go into the 4 phases, we need to understand that the experience of burnout from women, it doesn't allow us to scale our business, because we're actually working against our own body. If we're working against our own body, guess what? The body's going to shut down, and it's not going to work for you. And if you shut down and you get sick, can you work? Obviously not. Okay. This is why this is important for us to understand as women. And this is the 28 to 35 day cycle. Now, our periods, this menstruation, I don't know if you guys can see me, with my little cursor there. But the menstruation, our periods, is what starts this 4-day cycle. And some women are on a 28-day cycle up to 35-day cycle. That means that it takes 28 to 35 days for it to go back for you to menstruating. Okay. I tend to be on a 28, 29-day cycle. Okay. It tends to go between those two, between 28 and 29 days. That means from my last period, 28 days go by, or 29, before my period starts again and the cycle starts up. I hope you understand that, and I hope that that makes sense for you. So the next phase from the menstruation is the follicular. So as you can see, we're going up a hill here. Okay, we are going up this hill. I like to associate this chart with our energy levels. Okay, so as you're going up the hill, your energy is increasing every single day. Okay, these are days going by. Okay, so you might find that you actually sleep less during this time when you are follicular. This is when you can get more work done. This is when this is a great time for you to be doing team meetings. This is when it is a great time for you to be doing networking events, especially when you get into the ovulation phase up here. Okay, because when you are ovulating, this is when you are at your highest peak. Okay, but when you are follicular, this is a good time to be implementing those strategies. This is a good time to be taking action. This is a good time to be putting things into place. This is a great time to also launch ads if you wanted to launch ads. This is a great time if you are a speaker to be doing speaking events. You want to be doing it when your energy levels are going up every single day. This is the time to execute. Take action. You want to go for that promotion, girl? Go for that promotion, girl, especially when you are ovulating because you are at your highest peak. Now, here comes the other part of things is the luteal phase. Now, imagine I told you as you're going up, your energy level is going up. So when you're luteal, guess what's happening? Look at the graph. Your energy level is going down. So every single day, your energy level is going down. As the day goes on, your energy level is going down. And the issue with this, and it's not the issue is the luteal phase. The luteal phase is not the issue. The issue is that we're trying to do the same things that we were doing here over here when our energy is now going down. And this is what's not productive for us. During the luteal phase, there's something that actually happens chemically to our brain, and we go so more so into a reflection mode. Honor it, ladies. Be self aware of this because during this phase, you can actually confuse it with depression. And confusing it with depression will cause you to make erratic decisions. And this is where, men try to pick at women talking about us being irrational, erratic. Fuck that shit. No, we are not irrational, erratic. Okay, we're not. Okay, there are chemical things happening to our bodies during this time. Now, when you are luteal, okay, we as women have to become self aware because it's not like men don't get erratic and irrational. Look at all the violence that happens on this earth. Okay, men are highly irrational and erratic. When you just look at even the history, you can get upset about it if you want, but it's a historical fact. Look at the present times. Okay, men have been absolutely destructive to this earth. They are highly irrational and erratic. And this actually just gets put on women being too emotional when in fact we have probably the highest emotional intelligence on the planet. Okay. Now, let us be aware of this emotional intelligence and honor our bodies. When we are luteal, this is a good time for you to actually be looking at your analytics, to be looking at your data, to be looking at the strategies that you put into place when you were follicular and ovulating. What's working? What's not working? Whatever's not working, you're not going to execute it when you're follicular again. You're just going to get rid of it. This is a good time to be doing a lot of reflection. Also, this is the part I want you to really focus on. So you see here, you're ovulating, right? You're at the top, you're at the peak, you're at your cusp, and then you start to go down. This time right here is where I talk about the confusion happening a lot of times because you'd be like, oh my gosh, I was just so happy with my life yesterday. Okay, it's like I was just so happy with my life yesterday. What is going on? Why am I feeling this way? Why don't I like my career? And it's not really that. There are things that are coming up for you now at this point. It's just because you're coming off that high. So if you feel that sudden shift and you're like, damn, I was just jumping up and down yesterday. What's going on? Hey, is your period a week away? Because the luteal phase tends to happen a week before your period. Mine tends to be 5 days before my period. I get a shift. And when I say I get a shift, I get a physical shift. My temperature rises. I know I get more agitated easily. I know that I'm luteal, okay? But I also track my cycle, so I know when I'm entering into that luteal phase. But this is doesn't mean that you have to stop working. You just have to shift your focus. So I hope that makes sense for you, and I hope you realize that you are not crazy. You are just going into your luteal phase, and it just means that you need to shift your task to something else, okay? And then you go back, of course, into your menstruation phase. Now, each phase, as I says, relates to different activity, tasks, exercises, and even foods. Okay, it even relates to different types of foods that we should be consuming. And I'm going to get more into the foods later. For all of you who actually attended the live, you will get access to my ebook about menstrual cycle syncing. It's a menu where it correlates different foods with the different cycles that we go through. And when I tell you that just switching up your foods will alleviate like your PMS symptoms, they will go away. They will go away when you start incorporating the proper nutrients for your body at the proper time. But it first starts with you, women, and recognizing what phases you are in. And, thinking about, these different phases, I want to see if my chart, do I have my chart up again here? Okay, great. Now it does say stock market at the end because I'm about to get into the stock market, but I want to talk a little bit about what I mean about correlating differently with the different phases. So when you are menstruating, it is best to rest. Not gonna lie, you're bleeding here, women. You're bleeding, you're bleeding. Rest your flipping body, okay? As you become follicular, it is best to start doing strength training exercises. This is a good time to be doing cardio. This is a good time for those. And when you're ovulating, it's a great time to be doing like fit hit exercises. So this is when you are doing high intensity workouts. This is a great time for it. When you start to hit your luteal phase, this is when you want to start getting into your yoga and into your Pilates and into more stretching. You want to start correlating your exercises with this. This is why it is not ideal for a woman to try to wake up every day at 5 a.m. and do the same routine. We are not built that way. And it's up to us to honor that first. Okay. We need to honor that first. And it's just such a beautiful experience. Now, how does this relate to the stock market? Because this is what I said that I was going to talk about, how you can build wealth with the stock market. And what I'm going to talk about today when it comes to the stock market, this actually has to deal with playing for the long run. So I'm not talking about specifically day trading. I'm talking about playing for the long run. That means investing in a stock and you don't check on it until like 6 months later. Okay, you let that stock just build up and then you check on it after the 6 months, you check on it in another 6 months. Okay, this is the stock that I am talking about. This is the type of strategy that I'm talking about here. So this is going to relate to the stock market and how you play the stock market. So remember the phases when you're luteal, okay? This is when it's a good time to analyze, to do your research about the stocks that you're thinking about going in. This is a good time for you to enter into the stocks that you are thinking about going in when you are at that follicular and ovulatory phase. Now, how do you decide which stocks that you are going to look into? How do you say, hey, Tanya, how do I know what stocks to look out for? For me personally, I like to play on what's known as gainers. Okay. I like to play on stocks that have a positive gain. That's all that means. Okay. And I look at trends for the future. And right now, whether people want to believe it or not, there is a trend for the future. And the way to find those trends is through the news, but it's through the stock market news. It's through the stock news outlets. So I suggest starting just to follow Yahoo Finance and Market Watch. There are plenty of other stock news outlets out there. You do the one that's most appropriate for you. I prefer just having the Yahoo Finance app on my phone, and I get those alerts whenever news alerts come out. The reason I'm saying this is because every single thing that happens is related to the stock market. When there was the lakes were freezing in Texas and they had a big thing with oil, guess what happened to the energy stocks? They went up, you guys. Every single thing that you hear on the news reflects the stock market. The stock market reflects the news. So when there's big news that comes out, the stock market reflects it. So I'm going to give you an example of one of my stocks that literally like just started going down. I lost like $80, but I'm still in the stock and I'm going to tell you why. Okay, I'm gonna tell you why, and I'm glad I was follicular, when I looked at the stock, because if I had been luteal, I might have made an emotional reaction out of it. But the reason that that stock went down is because of a comment made by a CEO competitor. So, that being said, right now, when we're looking at the trending, what is trending? What is everybody talking about right now? Everybody is talking about AI stocks. Okay, this goes beyond Chat GPT. Okay, I know everybody's here of Chat GPT, especially when it comes to your businesses. This goes beyond Chat GPT. In fact, Chat GPT never had any intentions on going public. Okay, that's just for you guys to understand. They actually never had any intentions. This is going, when I talk about AI stocks, I'm talking about AI stocks that are making real applications, AI stocks that are within like the transportation system, AI stocks that are within the computer system, AI stocks that are within like your government system, okay, that they are using. Okay, because AI is extending past your simple virtual assistants here, guys. It is going to be so much bigger than you can ever imagine. So, looking into AI stocks now is the time. It is the time between now and March. You really want to make sure you get into a good AI stock. And here's one thing I want to say, because this is something I've noticed. Avoid stocks that have the name AI attached to it, but they're not related to AI. This is where you have to do your research. Sorry, I went to my screen there too soon. Research is very, very, very important for you to do when it comes to the stock market. So for now, look at AI and focus on AI stocks. I also am thinking about the future as well. More than AI, I am thinking about quantum computing. Now, there is a stock that I invested in called Nvidia. Okay. The I believe the ticker is NVDA. Okay. I'm in that position right now, but I'm also with Regedy Computing, which is RGTI. I am with RGTI because of their quantum computing. I am with NVDA because of their AI. Now, the AI CEO of NVDA ticker that I'm talking to you about made a comment that quantum computing will not be like usable within like 10, 15 years. And because of that comment, the stock started to tank. But I know it is the future, because within that statement, you are telling me quantum computing is the future. That is what it is leading to. It is leading to a higher GPU for systems to work faster. It is leading to quantum computing. This is why I did not pull out of that stock, because I'm like, I'm going to get my money back. I'm not worried about it. So this is where the research comes in, into identifying trends. Now, if you guys want me to go into more details into how to actually day trade and look for resistant points, some people call it breakthrough points. It's resistant points. It's when the stock gets to a certain point and then it goes back down until it breaks that resistant point. Okay. If you want me to get into all the details to know when to enter a stock, when to exit a stock, how to build a strategy, I can definitely do that. Just make sure that, put your comments through. And when I see the comments, I will do another live stream that focuses on how to actually day trade. But the strategy that you're learning today is about researching. Okay. AI stocks, even though the quantum computing stocks have gone down, it is still the future. It is still the future. This is where AI is leading us to, is leading us to quantum computing. Okay. So even virtual realities, okay, it is the future. Even if you have this big resistance to it, do not, because it is here, it is now. And to have resistance to it means to deny the present. It means to deny the now. It means to live in the past. And we cannot move forward when we are living in the past. Okay. And I want you to be able to build wealth for yourself. I want you to have abundance. Okay. For this 2025 year. So start looking and doing your research into stocks, and make sure you do your research and make sure that they are actually, because when you do your research, you find out what the company does and what they're associated with and what industry they're with. Look at the data, look at their profit loss, look at their market cap, and invest in the long run in these stocks, because it will definitely be very beneficial to you. Now, being mindful of what phase you're in, I highly suggest when you are checking your stocks, let's say you're checking it in your Luteal, give yourself a couple of days to reflect on it so that you do not make an irrational decision. Okay. Give yourself a couple of days. And if anyone is trying to pressure you, when it comes to finances during your luteal phase, then just tone them out, peep them out, get rid of them, like screw them, give them a boot, however you kick their ass, whatever you got to do. Okay. But have them stop talking in your ear, okay, when it comes to that. Because when someone's trying to pressure you, you're in your luteal phase, you might make a money decision that you regret later. Allow your time when it comes to financial deals to mull over for a couple of days. If they're trying to pressure you to do just something now, well, then you know what? They might not just be a right fit for you, and something better will come along for you. Now, I do need to make this disclaimer. Even though I invested in these stocks, and even though I told you, hey, I just lost a lot of money in RGTI, I'm not saying that you have to invest in these specific stocks. I am not saying that. The stock market, and even as entrepreneurs, that having your own business, it is a risk. Same as the stock market is a risk. There is no guarantee. So I do have to give that disclaimer when it comes to it. But I do feel like you will build wealth with the stock market because it is an asset. We want to have more assets than liabilities. So if you make a list of all your assets and you make a list of all your liabilities, which means liabilities mean that these are expenses that are coming out. Okay, those are liabilities, and you make a list of your assets. If your assets are not more than your liabilities, you are not building wealth for yourself. And this is a year where we are going to build wealth for ourselves. Okay. This is the intention that we are setting for ourselves. Now I'm going to get to my last screen. For those of you who attended, thank you so much. This is the QR code where you can sign up for the release of the menstrual cycle syncing menu. It's a guide to eating for each cycle phases. So I am the one who has my women's hormonal health certification through the Institute of Menstrual Health. And I will say that I do not agree with women being on a restrictive diet. I don't believe that we should be vegan or vegetarian. I think that we need to get as much protein as necessary because technically, there are certain types of nutrients that we can only get through animal protein. It is what it is. This is a fact. So if you are vegetarian or vegan and you are not taking supplements, you need to be taking supplements. That is a big deal. So you can actually sign up for the release of my menstrual cycle syncing menu. And when you do, shoot me an email so that I know that you attended this. And if you're watching the replay of this, put a comment below. And I will also put you on that list to get that coupon code, okay? So that you can get this menstrual cycle menu and you can start incorporating the necessary nutrients for your body. Now, I want to thank you all so much for attending this. This has been absolutely fabulous. I actually had a wonderful time doing this. I'm going to go out and enjoy this beautiful weather out here in New York. Yes, I think it is beautiful, even if it is 32 degrees outside right now. Okay. But I want to thank you guys so much for attending. I really hope that you were able to take, something away from this, and to be able to incorporate this not only in your career and what you want for yourself and how to align yourself based on your tasks, but also to incorporate it into your relationships. I know when I'm dating a guy and I'm luteal, I'll tell them that I'm luteal. For real, ladies, I be like, look, I'm luteal right now. And the first thing that they say is, what is luteal? And I'm like, I'm glad you asked. It is a week before my period. And this is the time where my energy level is going down every single day. I tell them that. And 100% of the guys that I've told that, they're like, oh, that makes perfect sense. This makes sense. And they start to think about other women in their lives. And they're like, oh man, this makes sense why, I had one guy say that he actually thought his sister was lazy around certain times of the month, not realizing what was happening to her. So this is not only, for us, but when we educate men, and there's a way for them to respect us. Now, after we educate them and they choose not to respect us, like fuck those motherfuckers, like fuck that shit. That is not okay. Okay. Like you roar, ladies, you roar, because that is not okay. Especially, when someone knows something. If I tell you, hey, this bothers me when you do this, and you repeatedly do it to bother me. So instead of your intention being to make me happy, you choose to bother and agitate me, you no longer need to be in my space. You got to go. Okay, unapologetically, you got to go because my peace is important. Okay. And I hope you all understand and get to feel what that feels like to have your peace and to protect it by any means necessary. And by any means necessary, that means removing people who no longer need to be in your life. I don't know why I said that, but I said it for a reason and somebody needed to hear it. Okay. So thank you, ladies, for attending. I really hope that this year is just filled with nothing but love and abundance for you and all your friends and families. And I will see you for the next live stream. Take care.